Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is the first one on my actual strategies, and this one is bread and butter. This one is my main strategy that I take. Um, if I'm having a tough time in the markets, this is all I trade. I go back to this because it works so frequently. The risk reward is really good, and it works on the reasons behind why the market moves. It doesn't work just on patterns or you know that kind of retail crap you get taught. It really works. So with that being said, let's dig in. For any strategy I have, for any move, there has to be a reason for the price to move that way, right? It doesn't move randomly, despite what most people will tell you. The price does not move randomly in forex. There's always a reason. And the main reasons that I look for are draw on liquidity. So I look at the beginning of this day, where does price want to go to and why? And in this case, price wants to draw towards areas that are contains the majority of traders' stop losses, right? Because those stop losses are orders waiting to be filled on the other side. The more orders that can be targeted, the more money they can make, essentially, without digging too deep into it. Um, Liquidity can also be sat at any point where you think people's stop losses are. At the basic level, that's what you look for. So above here, there's a bunch of people's stop losses. Anyone who's short in this area is probably going to stop out here if they're a short-term trader. Maybe above this high also, maybe above this high also. Same on the downside. So before this level, people are going to stop out below here, right? People are going to stop out below here from yesterday's session. And moving forward, we mark our lows as areas where people's stops are going to be below as well. So with that being said, let's move on to this particular setup. We see a sort of trend being formed. At this point, I am not particularly bullish. I don't think trend lines really work. But I do think that people see them. So traders see them and will stick to them pretty religiously. Some trend line traders. So what we see is price sitting above it. So most of these people are bullish. These guys are all buying, buyers, 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 and a lot of them get stopped out here, right? Those buyers have stopped out, and price has broken down this trend. What I look for, my main thing I'm going to look for is some form of structure, and usually that comes in the form of a flag. Don't ask me why flags seem to work the best. They really just do for this strategy. But to the point, price has broken down. When it breaks down a trend line like this and doesn't immediately come back and close above, like this did not, no candle ever closed back above, this tells me that we're bearish and we're going to be looking for this liquidity down here. So with that being said, we're only at this point now. We can only see so much. I'm already thinking that price is going to get down here. Because that's what price is telling us itself. It's broken down through the trend and it's taken these stops. It wants to go to take all of these buyers, right? With that being said, so I'm looking for a flag or something, a structure to form. In this case, we did get a perfect flag. I will switch over to a 1 minute chart in a moment. This was a while ago, so I have the data on another chart. Switching over, here is our same day. This is our trend in air quotes trend. The trend doesn't really matter itself, but the fact that it breaks down and these traders, the buyers are now less confident, we're going to be getting more of an influx of sellers and we get this flag forming. So it's pretty steep, but what I'm looking for is for the people who are too aggressive at selling in this area. I'm looking for those guys to stop out, right? And I'm looking for buyers to be drawn back in. So as price goes down, we're now bearish on the idea, we're looking for a short. So are other people, right? There are sellers here. And there are sellers on this pushback down again. Every red candle, retail traders are thinking, okay, it's going to go down now, Okay, now it's going to go down. Every time. I'm looking for when these guys are going to get stopped out, right? And for me, when that happens, this candle closes back inside, above this trend line again, and immediately rejects. That to me is more than enough confirmation that these guys have all stopped out. They've stopped out up there, and then the market can continue the way that it actually wants to go towards liquidity. So in this case, I am getting in at the rejection of this candle. So at the bottom of this candle would be my sell, and I will be putting my stop safely in here. If price goes back above this trend line again and closes above, we can safely assume instead that our day will be bullish and we'll be looking for the higher liquidity pools. So we would be then, in that case, be looking for this area or this area. But it doesn't, as you can see. So our trade is short at this flag brackets. The flags don't have to be accurate, right? Doesn't matter if it doesn't form a perfect flag and the lines don't perfectly add up. Doesn't matter at all. All that matters is that retail traders are going to see it, and they're going to get in their positions, and then you can look for where their stops are going to be. So in this case, we are aiming for the lower liquidity. We get in our position around here, I think, ish, and we keep our stop pretty wide on the short sells. This is because they can really, you can get wicks. Like we see a wick right here, just to this point above. This happens super frequently, so it's well worth keeping that wide stop. Otherwise, you just get stopped out too much, and your actual profitability goes down quite a lot. But anyway, as we see, we go down to the draw on liquidity, and we're going to take it at that point, and that's our trade. That is a 3-hour trade, pretty comfortably. There's not much messing around after this area. Price just goes straight down to our liquidity area, something like that. As you can see, in this case, price does go further. So, you know, you could always say could have made more, but you equally could have rejected. So in that case, just play safe and always aim for the liquidity areas. So that is it. It's as easy as that, really. You don't need any fancy indicators. You don't need, you know, a bunch of wiggly lines and crap all over your charts. It doesn't add anything. So keep your charts pretty naked and just draw on the things that you want to focus on. So in my case, and in this strategy's case, you want to focus on where that liquidity is sitting. More importantly, where people's stops are. I mean, that's the same, but focus on if you were greedy, if you were a greedy trader, if you were aggressive trader, where would you be getting in and where are you going to put your stop? Because those stops are going to be targeted every single time on every move. If you look at any forex price action, you'll see tons of wicks and wicks down again here and wicks above, and you know, it's how the market works. The market is rigged, and we want to take advantage of the fact that the market is rigged. Okay, so that's a bread and butter short setup. We'll go to some long setups. Had some great long setups today. It's exactly the same thing, but in reverse. Sorry, we'll go like this. Okay, so today, what do we have? We have the morning. We mark out our key liquidities that we're looking for, liquidity areas. So I'm looking at this here. Ton of stop losses are going to be sat there. This is a sort of bearish order block beginning of area where the move began from, or what I treat it from anyway. So I don't think the price is going to go much higher than here. If anything, this is my area. This is what I was looking for price to reach. And the reason I was bullish, as you can see again, we kind of got this level and this sort of 1, 2, 3 times tested high. Once that broke up to the upside and this did not reject and go below trend, from here I was bullish. So the strategy, once again, is we look for a structure, ideally a flag. Once again, don't know why, just in all of my back testing, they seem to work by far the best. And we got just that. So we've come up past this air quotes trend line, I mean, look at it, it's barely a trend, but people will see it as such. So it goes above that, and it goes above this high and holds it, goes up again. So we're pretty bullish, and we're looking for a price to swipe our liquidity areas. And what do we get? We get a flag forming. Draw that on your chart, and we get this little wick here below the previous low. This has taken early aggressive buyers stops. So people buying here, or even buying on the way down, they have stopped out. We then get two deciding candles, and on the first candle that closes back in solidly inside the structure, we can buy. And we did that. So yeah, then we go. I didn't take this one, unfortunately. I was busy with another trade, but this is picture perfect as setups go. I mean, even more ideally, you get a bit of a bigger wick to really show that it's taken all of the stop losses, because it has taken the stops of everyone inside this flag and anyone who's bought past this point. So all of those people have stopped out, and now we can resume in our bullish trend that we think is going to happen to target these liquidity pools up here. And yeah, works out perfectly. We had another perfect example today. Here we see 1, 2, 3 relative equal lows, and a flag descending back down to target those. So under those lows, those are the stops. Again, people's stops, and they're all going to stop out, and they're going to be targeted. As when you can see that they're being targeted, and the wick takes them all out. Candle closes aggressively back into the structure. We buy right as that candle closes, and aim for the higher liquidity again. So we see this little stagger. Some people's stops are going to be sitting above that. Wasn't the strongest, in my opinion, as in an area to target. We could have aimed for higher. As you'll see, it does go higher, but this was the safest play for me. And I did take this trade, and it worked perfectly. So that is bread and butter, guys. That is what we're looking for. We're looking for a reason for the price to move. We're looking for suckers. We're looking for retail suckers to target on the short term. And then we look for our specific entry when it comes with a pattern. In this case, a flag. This is absolute bread and butter. But, you know, this is where retail trading differs from the stuff that actually works. Retail traders, you're told to buy the breakout of the flag, right? To buy the breakout, buy the breakout, buy the breakout. Keep your stop below. It's so easy to get fooled into buying a breakout when you, so you know, if you bought here when you think, oh, quickly it's moving up. This is a bit of a ridiculous example because it's so small, but you're going to be targeted. You're going to be the sucker, and you're going to be the one who puts their stop below these lows and hits it. Whereas if you just wait and you wait for those stops to get hit and then you enter, your win rate is going to skyrocket. Plus you get lower entries in the flags instead of buying up here with a big wide stop, you know. So it's just not worth it to do it in that way. So yeah, that is bread and butter. The only extra on this setup I do like to consider is whether I'm trading a continuation move or whether I'm trading liquidity level to liquidity level. So in this, I'm trading liquidity to liquidity, right? I'm trading a short-term liquidity stop to another liquidity pool higher up. Often, you'll want to trade, see if I can find an example for you. You'll want to trade with the continuation if there's a strong trend. This is a different strategy. Yeah, so here, we were looking for this move. We were looking to target stops up here. Flag comes, but you'll see this isn't like price has just taken a lower an upper liquidity and then is coming back down again. You know, this is continuation on a strong trend. We're in no man's land here. We have a strong bearish trend and no reason to come back up. So yeah, the trade didn't form, but I was looking for these guys to stop out and enter on the way back down of this flag, aiming for the lower liquidity again. Didn't come. But still, you get the idea. The other way is liquidity to liquidity. So on this example, we have a trend that gets broken down. More importantly, we have the fact that the upper liquidity has been taken. This has now been taken, so now we have permission. We have a draw. We have a reason why we think or why we know price is going to target these lower areas now. Once this has been taken, it's like price has been given a free pass to now go to the other side, and it does just that. We took this trade. It's pretty successful. Yeah, once again, stop sitting above this level. Flag comes. We know that price is going to go down here, or we have a strong conviction that price is going to take this low out because we've had this taken already. This would be a liquidity to liquidity trade in my books. Still the same setup. You'll see flag forms. People get stopped out. You buy, you sell. In this case, the breakdown with a stop above the stop out candle, as I'll call it, and we aim for that lower liquidity. Here I took out quite a bit lower. As this is no man's land, I can expect a chunkier, quick move down because there are so many stops here. This is so much buying liquidity that is just collected here. So all of those stops are going to trigger at the same time, and there's going to be an influx of sellers. So you can expect a big wick candle. That's a little extra just in terms of targeting, because that gave me an extra, half an hour or something like that. But yeah. So that is my bread and butter setup, guys. It's a variation, I guess, on flags, but you know, you don't want to be buying flag breakouts. Has so many cons to it. You'll get stopped out more frequently. You have less risk reward. Everything is just worse. Trade it like this, and it'll hopefully you'll see some results. So yeah. Bread and butter flag setup. Hope you guys learned something from this, and for me, I like to make these videos because it solidifies my knowledge even more. It helps me to stick to my strategies that I know that work. Yeah, leave a comment or send me a message if you want, and I'm always open to help anyone should they need. Thanks guys, bye bye.